the Women in Manufacturing site visit at SIL Africa. We do apologize for being a bit late, but as always, you will enjoy the show. So to kick us off, I want to invite the CEO of SIL Africa, Rafi Mathu. Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome, Ms. Rose.
Yes.
Welcome to SIL Africa.
Thank you. Okay.
Karibu.
So you'll move there. You'll stand there.
SIL Africa is very proud to welcome you all. Welcome, Ms. Rose, on behalf of CAM.
Thank you.
And we take this opportunity to show us what SIL Africa does in East Africa, being the leading plastic packaging manufacturing company. And it all started the journey way back more than 55 years. And now in Tanzania, and in more than 40 years in Kenya. And recently we started in Ethiopia also. So we are an East African packaging plastic manufacturing company, where our normally the core values and the mission for us is to be how we become more competitive, the technology leadership way, and how we embrace new technologies comes us. This is very, very important for us. Otherwise, what is going to happen is that how you are going to be cost effective in this market, how you are going to turn around the plastic thing. So we equally concentrate on the 100% circular economy, and SIL Africa is very proud that on the sustainability goals. It's very, very important for us going forward how we make this happen. So it is a very good opportunity for SIL Africa to show the women entrepreneurs in Kenya how they can be a part of this mission to make Kenya be very vibrant, be a part of a successful industrial revolution coming on. Because this is one of the big challenges we always see in, we'll say, African continent. But African continent is much forward than most coming in form of technology side. So it is welcome again, Karibu. And I'm going to invite my group executive director, Mr. Akshay Shah, to take more through the initial parts of how we are building up this sustainability and how we are taking it forward, and what kind of tools we are using on the technology, on the leadership, and how we are making the company become more on the continuous improvement plan. So thank you once again. Welcome, Ms. Rose.
Yes.
I take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Akshay.
Okay. So just a few minutes then, we welcome Akshay, the Executive ED of SIL Africa. So thank you, Ravi.
Thank you, Rose.
Okay.
Have a good journey with SIL Africa.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Akshay.
Thank you. We keep rolling? Great. Okay. All right. Well,
yeah. You're free to just stand and make the presentation.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I can have the mic.
Well, it's good to finally have this done.
Yes.
We've been talking a lot ever since I first heard about CAM's focus on women in manufacturing.
Yes.
And I did mention at the time, a few months ago, that anybody who is in manufacturing, small scale or large scale, global or regional or local, it's really important to focus on having a journey that gets to world-class manufacturing. So whether you're making, some honey or some garments or maybe furniture, or whether it's like in our case packaging, the moment the manufacturing entity becomes world-class, then basically the world is open to that particular manufacturer's, products. To be able to find markets around the world is becoming easier, thanks to internet, social media, e-commerce. But the challenge, I think, with manufacturing is how do you actually become world-class, even if you don't necessarily have the resources to invest in, huge amounts of technology. So today, I think for our audience, women in manufacturing, I wanted to talk about something that we call the SIL Africa way. Maybe I'll just, because we've got enough distance and everybody can see what I look like. So we've got this model here called the SIL Africa way. I hope it's possible to see it relatively clear. Otherwise, we'll share the presentation as well. So the SIL Africa way is something that we take it as our mantra. that, our success comes by being better, competitive, and faster, by everyone, every day, working in the Sil Africa way. So it's a daily thing, it's a culture, it's something that we wake up with and we go to sleep with. So what exactly is the Sil Africa way? So it's really focused on, these areas. So think about it as, there's an acronym we use called QCD-MST. So Q, quality, C for cost, D for delivery or throughput, and T for technology, and MS is morale and safety, and T is for technology. So when we think about this QCD-MST, at the high level, we all want in manufacturing, regardless of who is producing what, you want the safety and morale of the people that are working in your business to be high. Manufacturing has a lot of moving parts. There's machinery, there's machines and injection and sewing and stitching and whatever. And the right precautions, it can be dangerous. Sometimes just the work conditions, things are lying everywhere, people can easily trip. So just for the workers to feel that it is a safe environment and there is a lot of clarity around working together as a team, achieving shared targets and objectives, helps the morale to go up. So that's the first part, safety and morale. It's the foundation of our TSW culture. And within that, we have some specific areas like cleaning and organizing, goal alignment, problem solving, and workplace discipline. These are what we call gears. So 4 gears, if we focus on, will help us to build a strong foundation. That is the starting point of any manufacturing company. And again, I keep emphasizing that whether you're a small manufacturer or a large manufacturer, it's really important to think about building a strong foundation. My colleague Surya is going to go into a bit of detail about these, so I'm going to kind of go through this very quickly so you get a big picture view. The other area as a manufacturer is to make sure that you have the right, manufacturing is all about producing something. And if that something isn't consistent, product after product, the customer experience is going to be kind of a bit hazard. You will not get word of mouth, you will not get recognition, you will not build a brand. So what will happen is eventually the company will start suffering. So quality is really key, and the way to achieve it, there are 5 specific gears here. Zero monitoring, plant maintenance, quality assurance, supplier development, and multi-skilling. Again, Surya will go through the details, but each of these areas, in 20 in total, have a curriculum. Just like how, let's say you want to learn, physics. Physics has a curriculum. So it's important to go through the curriculum, learn the particular skills, get the testing done, improve your aptitude, and then you come up with the ideas of how to do it. And it really doesn't matter whether it's about small, medium, large size, or whichever sector. The next area is about being competitive. Okay, so we like to use the word competitive rather than the word cost, because cost can sometimes lead to people thinking about shortcuts. Yeah. So it's really important to think about being competitive rather than taking shortcuts. Sometimes spending a bit more money on the right process or the equipment or the training can actually have a long-term cost advantage. But shortcuts will very quickly destroy the company. So what are the 5 gears in order to become competitive? It's all about reducing manufacturing costs. So methods improvement, these are your systems and processes. How can you keep improving your systems and processes so that over a period of time, you become more and more competitive? Waste elimination, this obviously says it all. But examples could be like, if you design the product the right way, if you eliminate unnecessary waste in the manufacturing process, then by design you can eliminate waste. And then of course, then one has to deal with like abnormal manufacturing, like rejection. And that can be taken care of in quality combined with cost. The other way to reduce cost is to have empowered employees. Manufacturing is really a bottom-up model, right? It's not top-down, because where does the actual activity happen, right? We call it the gemba, or rather the Japanese call it the gemba. Gemba means the place of action. So manufacturing happens in the gemba, on the shop floor, on the machine. So who best knows how to reduce the cost is the operator on the shop floor. So if they are empowered and they are trained, then they will actually be able to take the right steps in real time at the right time. Other areas around efficiency control. So whether it's energy consumption, whether it's cycle time, whether it's throughput, how are you improving your efficiency of your equipment, efficiency of your people? It sounds like a bit vague, but I can guarantee you there are very, very specific ways to achieve this. And that's part of the curriculum that we have in our TSW framework. And the last one around cost competitiveness is conserving resources. So whether it's energy, water, materials, time, people, movement, like all of these are resources. Space is a resource. And I would say, especially with women in manufacturing who are in the SME space, or the SME sort of size of companies, probably space is a huge resource, right? That is highly constrained. Maybe that's the bottleneck that you're facing in order to scale your business, is that you're operating out of a small space. So how can you make better use of the space by reorganizing and reconfiguring the manufacturing activities, combining certain steps into one step to have less number of activities or manual work, and that starts to actually increase your capacity as a manufacturer. The next area is about delivery, faster delivery, or another way to think about it is throughput. Right? So materials in, finished products out. What happens inside that black box, which is your factory, it needs to have a very high throughput. If there are things happening inside that box that are creating bottlenecks, then you will end up with carrying a lot of inventory. You'll end up with maybe semi-finished products, and cash will then get stuck into the business. So the best way to make sure that your cash is moving fast is to make sure that your business throughput is fast, right? So your manufacturing processes have to have faster delivery. And how does one achieve that? We have 4 specific gears around that. So starting with reducing WIP, or work in process. These are the semi-finished products that are in between different stages of manufacturing. So one could reduce that with planning, but you can also reduce it by redesigning the product and redesigning the manufacturing steps. Another one which is really important is quick changeover. Most of the times in manufacturing we have a machine, then we have a tool or a mold or a die or a jig, and these two things combine and work with each other to produce different variances, different products. So every time you want to switch from one product to another product, there has to be a changeover. It could be a changeover of a product or a mold or a shape or a color or something like that. Changeover, the longer it takes, the less you're producing, right? And so it's almost like, think about, with planes, right? Planes don't make money if they're on the ground. So the faster they can do a turnaround at the airport, get passengers off, new passengers in, and quickly get up, the more money they make. That's the same reality for manufacturing. A quick changeover means your plane is flying, it's not on the ground. The next one is coupled manufacturing. So this is basically saying couple, meaning combine the manufacturing steps. If you've got a process that is taking up 8 steps, how can you do value engineering? How can you change the design? How could you combine some of the processes so that you have less components to make and less steps to actually produce or fabricate that particular product? And then planning and scheduling. This would almost seem like, a given that, yeah, obviously any manufacturing activity must have planning and scheduling. But I can tell you that even in a large company that has been around for over 50 years, sometimes we also make mistakes on planning and scheduling. And the consequences of that is that we sometimes may run out of raw material, or we might have double booked the machine capacity, or we don't have the right sort of workforce at the right time on that machine. So just to make sure those gaps don't happen, just having a very rigorous, disciplined approach on planning and scheduling is important. And it can be, as simple as starting off with a Google Sheet, then building it up and building it up over time. The last area is on technology. And here we have two types of technology. So there's information systems, right? So I mentioned like use a Google Sheet or use some kind of a manufacturing planning software. But there's also other things that we can do. So an example of information systems combined with manufacturing technology is IoT, Internet of Things. So, if you Google that, and if you Google Industry 4.0, you will see that IoT, Internet of Things, is really helping to bring manufacturing into the fourth industrial revolution. Now, before I get into it, I want to say that it's affordable and it's accessible. So it's not like talking about technology that is, rocket science or anything. We are upgrading machines that are 25 years old with IoT devices that cost about $150, and it makes that machine smart, because now that machine starts telling our software, how much am I producing? How much energy am I consuming? How many hours am I running? We don't have to capture that information manually. So when machines start talking to the software, then other equipment like the generator or the compressor or the chiller is also able to provide that, and we can start now becoming smarter in how we manage our manufacturing resources. So information systems, particularly when you start thinking about IoT, is really critical to help with your manufacturing activity to sort of move in a way that helps you to achieve the quality, the cost, the delivery, and even the safety and morale. So I'll give one example, because I think sewing activity, right? Sewing and stitching is probably a common activity around women in SME manufacturing, from what I've been given to understand. Now, if you've got, let's say, 5 sewing machines and you need to expand to 20 because there's a lot of demand, but then, how do you keep track? Like, how much time is these machines actually running? How many times are they, having to do that movement before a particular garment is produced? All that movements can be tracked using IoT. So it's essentially just, small upgrades to an existing equipment to capture rotations, movements, energy consumption, and then collecting that information and tracking it, so that you start kind of looking at, okay, well, the sewing machine had to go 200 times in order to make this particular garment. Can we change the design so that we can achieve it in 150 times? 150 stitches can produce the same garment or not. So the moment you get that data, then you can actually start thinking about, how do I change the design in a way that is measurable in terms of efficiency? And to figure out these ideas, YouTube is a huge resource. If you just Google Industry 4.0, IoT, value engineering, Kaizen, and then add your sector, whichever one you're in, you will see a lot of resources there. And what we will do also is, on our LinkedIn page of SIL Africa, we'll keep posting useful resources as well that can help with women in manufacturing. The last one is manufacturing technology, which is different from information systems, because obviously this is the actual equipment that you're using to make the stuff. And it's important to also keep an eye on that. So for example, we used to have a very different way of producing the blue band tubs in the past. The technology that we're currently using to make yogurt cups, which can also be used for blue band tubs, consumes about 30% less energy, about 20% less material. There is more automation in terms of producing the decoration. The whole process is much more safer. It's able to dose the material in a much more precise way. So we keep looking at how can manufacturing technology improve the way in which we can become world class. It's obviously technology will have some investment, but it's not necessary that you have to go with the Rolls Royce. Sometimes there are other sort of local solutions for local production. So I will stop there. Sorry, there's one last slide, I think the next slide, which is the whole journey. So when we started our journey in world-class manufacturing about 25 years ago, we were probably at about a level 1.2, 1.5.
Maybe actually you can come this side.
Yeah, okay.
So that yeah.
So, at level 1, that's the lowest possible level that we can be at. And the idea is that we keep doing these audits, which Surya will talk about. From the audits, we figure out where the gaps are, and then we start problem solving so that we can keep improving. So here you can see that if we achieve level 2, then we would consider ourselves the best plastic packaging manufacturing company in Kenya. If we go to level 3, we would consider that we have become a regional world-class manufacturing company. If we get to level 4, it means that we actually can consider ourselves the best in Africa. And level 5 is really overall world-class, regardless of which sector or which continent. To get to these levels is quite challenging, because it's almost like it's not a linear scale, it's a logarithmic scale. Over the last 25 years, we have been able to move from something like a level 1.2 to a level 2.8, and our target for this year is to get to level 3. So if we get to level 3, right, that's going to be really a happy place for us to be. And then from next year, our aim is to start moving into level 4. There is a very, very deliberate approach to doing this. It's just like a school curriculum. There's a lot of details, a lot of rigor, and it's completely accessible. It's not challenging, because you don't have to work on all 20 at the same time. Start with the 4 foundation gears and learn about them, start making small improvements, and then see where does your manufacturing operation need more attention, and pick the gear that will help you to improve that specific area. And then just keep on that journey. It takes some time, but it's more about commitment, dedication, and determination. If you have that perseverance, you have no option but to become a world-class manufacturer. So with that, Rosie, I'll hand it over to my colleague Surya, who really is the expert in the Seal Africa way.
Thank you so much, Akshay. And so that was amazing. We've learned about the gears, the Seal Africa way. So thank you, Akshay. We can invite Surya to come and take us to the next level. Yes.
Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Akshay, for this wonderful
I think you
well explained.
You come this side because of the shadow.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let me welcome the ladies of Kenya to Seal Africa board. So, as Akshay has explained very well here, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, all of us, either a small business, as Akshay said, making a honey or making a biscuit or making a kanga or making a Boeing aeroplane, all they want to be give a world-class and best product. And giving a best product is not a miracle, is not a just wish, and we can give the best class, world-class product. It's a journey. It's a journey to achieve that best level of your product quality, the best level we call world-class level in your organization, of your company. And his journey is having a time frame. So from level 1, we started as level 1, and now, as Akshay said, we are at around level 2.8. And how we are going from level 1 to 2, 2 to 3, or 2.5 or 3. Let me just explain a bit on that. Now, in this journey, of course, we are working on gear number 20 called manufacturing technology. But the most key thing in a lean manufacturing or any improvement concept worldwide are the people. We bring best technology, but when we don't spend time on people to educate them, that's what we call site technology, what we have at our site. And that's the most neglected process, people, our employees. By the most of the companies. On those companies, those are neglecting the people. They don't improve, they don't grow their people. Believe me, they cannot be a world-class company. Even they will just always struggle because their people are struggling. The people, those they are working together day and night, they are struggling to make a good product. They don't understand a good process make a good product. A good product is the output of a good process. If your technique is not good, every time you'll produce a bad product. So in TSW, we don't work on the results. We work on the techniques. What technique we are using to achieve the desired results. So here we are going to talk about the techniques. That is the most important thing, the techniques. Starting from the making a biscuit or to flying an Airbus Boeing plane techniques. So now let's we understand some basic technique of our audit process. You see, any continual improvement process or any organization where you are standing today and where you want to go, what is your mission, what is your vision, what you want to achieve, the best way to understand that is auditing process. We need a very good, clear, easy auditing process, which your employees should understand. They can review, they can audit themselves, our current process, and then they can improve on that. Now, after audit, we discuss here about 20 gears. We call 20 tools, 20 gears in TSW. And our mantra is, we call success. We'll achieve our success by when we call ourselves, when we provide a better, competitive, and faster service and product to our customers. Now, this audit tells us where we are standing and how we should be get more better, competitive, and faster. Now, on this audit, after doing this audit, let me explain just a bit about the audit. We have 20 gears. In 20 gears, we have 20 check sheets. So it's not just a common single check sheet. We are auditing all 20 gears because we cannot get the good result in that. So we are going on this analysis part on the micro level. So every gear is having each individual check sheet. Each check sheet is having a 20 checkpoints. Now these 20 checkpoints you can, and is defined on the same level 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and 4 to 5. So of course we are not mentioned here level 1 because level 1 is a starting point. Now we are going from level 1 to level 1.2, level 1.3, 4, 8, and we are achieving at level 2. So when we clear all these checkpoints and we got the tick mark, we can say we have done this point successfully. First, our internal audit, our own employees, they do. And then we call our external auditors. The external auditors, they come. They are from different part of the world, from Japan and from South Africa. They come and they audit us. Because people normally, they over-audit to their self. They give over rating to their self. So we call external auditor, and they audit us and they tell us where we are standing and why. Now, after level 2, we have to, once we complete level 2 successfully, now the journey will start to level 3. And now is to level 3, level 4 and level 5. This journey for any good company from starting till, let's say level 4, is 8 to 9 year journey. Now 8 to 9 years is a long time, but of course in total, if you consider overall time of the industry, the company, is a very small time. So in this 8 to 9 year, why we'll take this 8 to 9 year? Why we can't done within 1 year time? Because there are lots of problem. The problem is when we are not aligning the people with our process, with the auditing system. So when we come in the auditing system in each gear, we find lots of problems here. Lots of problems which are sometimes easy to solve, but we don't get good result if we don't follow the right method of solving that problem. So we have another mantra which we use as a analyzing our auditing process and our improvement process. Let's go next slide here. Now what is that next, our mantra? We call CAPDO cycle. CAPDO. CAPDO stands for check, analyze, plan. Check, analyze, plan, and do. What we do in here, people have a different methodology, as Akshay said. YouTube is a blessing for nowadays for all of us, where we can learn lots of things. So CAPDO is having some different people. They have a different methodology. Also, people call PDCA cycle. Some different tools are there. But in TSW culture, we call CAPDO cycle. Why we call CAPDO as a cycle? We'll understand this thing. So what we understand in check, analyze, plan, and do. In check, we collect the data. We'll understand the problem, the current scenario, the current situation, the current challenges. What is failing us? We collect the data. We'll understand the problem. If you want to kill an enemy, first we have to understand your enemy properly. How strong your enemy is. So we have to understand that enemy proper. Now, in the check, we collect all the data because we want to kill that enemy. We want to kill the problem from the root. We don't want the problem should occur again and again. We don't want to spend our time in solving the same problem day to day. Now, so for in the check process, we collect all the data related to those problems. In this data, there are different methods, different standard formats are there where we collect this. So we collect data through our check sheet, our daily production report, our quality reports, and some other data analysis tools we use to collect all these data. Now what we'll do, we'll come to the second part called analysis. In analysis, we'll keep all this data in different format and we use RCA, we call root cause analysis. In root cause analysis tool, most of the time we are working on the problem we are solving, but we see the same repeat result, the failures we are getting again and again. Now, it's because of the analysis. We are not doing very good analysis. We do under analysis or not. We are not following the right method of doing a proper analysis. Now in analysis section, we have root cause analysis format where we use YY analysis, some fishbone diagram, and there's numbers of root cause analysis tools we use. After analysis, we analyze the information like we say we understand 4W1H. People also call 5W1H. What happened, where is happened, when is happened, why is happened, and who is going to improve. So all this, understanding all that, we get very good analysis and we understand the problem very properly now. Why these problems are coming, why they're repeating again, on what frequency, what is the impact when it's repeating. So we understand now. After when we understood this, our problem, we had done proper analysis, now we are ready to attack on that. And now we'll plan our strategy. We'll plan our strategy. Another one thing I said here, team involvement. When we check, involve the team. Involve the managers, involve the supervisors. The most important, involve the worker, the employee. While you're doing this analysis, again involve them. They are going to give us best value-adding input in our analysis process, which even sometimes manager they skip. Because he is the first guy. like in investigation, the police normally when they come, they ask who's the eyewitness. Please call the eyewitness. They ask numbers of questions to the eyewitness. So the eyewitness, those machine operators, those are working on that place. Now this analysis part, let's we involve them. Now create the plan, action plan, improvement action plan. The improvement action plan is, why is it important to involve this operator? Because they are the one who's going to execute that plan, and they'll make sure the plan is executed and implemented in the correct way, as we discuss. Now the planning part has done. Now how to execute, that will cover under this planning part. Again, this very standard formats here. After executing the plan, we'll implement the plan in do. We'll do that thing. We'll move, we'll implement, we decided what we are going to do, on what frequency and how and who and where. After all this discussion, now the implementation part done. Now here we come about CAP-do cycle. Why we call cycle here? So now let's understand here. Once we done this thing, once we do, now the cycle will come here. Of course, in the first go, we can't solve the problem. If it happens that one go, one attempt, all the problems solved, then the company can be a world-class company in a year time. But this is a continual improvement journey. And this continual improvement is go with the baby steps. Is go with the baby steps. So baby steps is the most important thing. Always learn. We cannot jump on the level 1 to level 3 or level 5 just bringing world-class technology or machines. We have to go with the baby step, 1.2, 1.4, 1.5 to reach the level 2. Now the baby step started. We done one circle, we checked the data, we analyzed data very well, we implemented it very well, and we executed very well. We planned and we executed. Now again it's time to recheck that cycle. Now again it's time to recheck the cycle. Again we have to start the process, check. But of course now we are not starting the check from the beginning point. Now all the analysis we have done, now we'll do in the level 2 now. We'll understand our checks. Again we collect the data. Again we analyze the data. We'll see what we have aimed, what we have targeted to achieve, and what we have achieved. We'll collect all the data, we analyze, and we'll see is the result is as per our requirement or not. If it's not, why? What is failing us? Why is failing us? Again, we'll do why analysis. Again, we do the analysis. Again, we create our action plan, and again, we'll implement. The same way, the CAP-do cycle will be moving on. It's a continual improvement process. CAP-do cycle is the backbone for any continual improvement process, starting either the company is located in Kenya or any part of Africa, or maybe in Japan, or is one of the mantra used by Toyota also. So it's the key of any continual improvement process, and it's not as Akshay said, it's not a rocket science. Very, very easy. It's just required your commitment and your patience and your interest in that. That's the most important thing. So as we discuss about the CAP-do cycle, I will not take much time here. It's a not very difficult thing. I hope things are clear. So we can move further here now. Now this is the most important thing here. Understand this cycle. When we move from one cycle to the another cycle, where we are working? We are working on the machine. We are working on the process, but we are working with the people. We are working with the people, and people, they need a motivation. They need to encourage them. Now, once we complete our one cycle, let's motivate them. Let's celebrate. Let's celebrate by the clapping, and let's celebrate by, you decide how you want to celebrate. Now this is one of the most core important thing here, which followed by every cycle. You celebrate your success and also celebrate your failure, because your failure also is your learning. Your failure also is learning. The failure is telling you where you failed, why you failed, and that thing. Okay, of course you are not going to celebrate on your failure in the very happy mood, but of course we have to understand that also. So failure also is one kind of success here. So now it will help us to grow, to implement our CAP-do cycle, and we'll keep running, but do not neglect celebration part. So this is the step-by-step continual improvement cycle. Now let me explain here, as Akshay explained very well about the QC DSMT concept, as we follow is our mantra. Any company worldwide, there's no any other way to the company can grow by neglecting or not focusing on their customers' requirement. The customer's requirement is the key for any company. Now, the customer, what customer want? The customer want a quality better product. A customer want very cost competitive product. And adding, what is non-value adding? So we have created 12 performance area where teams are performing. We have created 12 performance area in SKL plant, and all these performance area we have defined their KRAs, their key result area, and align this KRA, we have aligned with the KPIs. Now, KPIs, we have given the benchmarking alignment. Benchmarking, we use the benchmarking with the world-class organizations. Suggestion system, when the suggestion system come, a team work together, small group activity project. We start small group activity projects, and a team works together to solve the problem, to implement the suggestion in each performance area. We have a guideline, every performance area must implement 3 to 5 small group activity. Small group activity is go parallelly, but still is different than the suggestion system. Now it bring the employee engagement, responsibility, ownership to the performance area. Gear number 10, workplace discipline, no latecomers, high attendance rate. We are getting 98% above attendance rate most of the time. Sometimes even it's go 99.5%. Now, this is the self-discipline in workplace discipline. Also, gear 1 and these other gears, none of the gears can be implemented here. Of course, in this, we are missing the self-discipline here, workplace discipline. So this is one of the foundation again. Zero monitoring, we have number of process here, process flow chart, machine standards and all. We have started, we are working on that, where we work more on the standardization, where we improve the process and the system till the level where no need to do any monitoring of that. The process will move most on the automation mode. So there's a proper, its own technology, methodology is there. Plant maintenance, maintaining of the plant, the equipment, what we have. The KPI is OE, how good overall equipment efficiency we are measuring here. We have improved our OE in last 1 to 2 years from 45 to 73 to 75%. The world-class target is 85%. Our target to be reached by 2021 end, about 85% target OE rating. Now, quality assurance. We have received in 2020 more than 60%, less than 60% less quality customer complaints. 60% less customer complaints because of this is another benefit of TSW implementation. Rejection rate has gone down from 2% to 0.8%, and also we are targeting either minimum 0.2, 0.3 or 0 rejection. Of course, the journey, it will take time. Again, supplier development. Again, this is the key thing here, supplier development. We cannot produce a good product if our supplier has not given us the good material, good service. You cannot make the good product because we are dependent on our suppliers. Even to whom we are supplying, he cannot use the product if the product is not a good quality, because we are the supplier for him. And if we are not giving a good quality product to him or to our end user, of course, he'll say my supplier is not good. He'll look for the alternative supplier. So now looking for the alternative supplier is not a solution, because the time of the challenges, most of the suppliers, we have the same challenges here. So we have to work closely with our supplier as our business partner. We develop a supplier. The suppliers are not only the suppliers outside our company. We call internal and external supplier. Internal, every next process, I am the supplier for the next process. The before process is my supplier to me. I am a customer for them. So we have internal all the employees in different activities, well defined, and we evaluate. We do the evaluation quarterly for each employee about their skills, and we'll do this evaluation and we discuss with the employee where he is standing currently to improve, to gain more multi-skilling knowledge, what he had to do. So it's a well-defined gear again. Now, method improvement. In method improvement and waste elimination, of course, in the competitive, they go very hand-to-hand, very closely, but with small different methodology. Empower employees. So gear number 14, you train them, they start making their decisions. Now the same efficiency control and conserving resources, again the game in our quick changeover. Our target to be achieved minimum 85 to 90% reduction time, where we are now 65% reduction time we have done in last week. Whatever business on whatever level we are doing, of course, is the key for us. Information system and manufacturing technology. We have started some good tools like ThinkTracks and data entry stations at different locations is a part of information system. In manufacturing technology, of course, we are working with the world-class technology, but also we are focusing on the site technology, our employees, to enhance to their knowledge, to make them more capable, to improve their caliber, to maintain those world-class technologies. So those are the benefits which we can see by implementing these 20 gears here. It's a long story we can talk here, but of course, due to time now, I have to stop here. So this is the only thing here, and thank you very much once again from Seal Africa team. Thank you very much.
How amazing was that? So detailed. I'm sure we're going to be able to share that presentation, with the women in manufacturing so that they can go deep and kind of understand the secrets, of building continuous improvement in your manufacturing firms. Before we get into it for another session with Akshay, I invite you to watch Pauline Akubasu, the founder and CEO of Azavi Foods, a woman in manufacturing. Today on Come Live, I'm going to have an amazing conversation with an amazing woman, the founder of Azavi Foods, and she's going to tell us her journey as a manufacturing SME in Kenya.
My name is Pauline Okubasu. I am the founder and CEO of Azavi Foods. So after research, I started getting information on how do I bridge that gap of market access from the farm to the fork, to the end consumer. And at that time also Kenyans were getting to know, to embrace nutrition, eating, we are starting to become healthy conscious. So just wondering also, how do I meet the nutritional needs of the Kenyan people? So I decided that I needed to offer organic products that are of good quality, they're tasty, and for me to do that I needed to partner with certified farmers that are doing organic farming and have gone through the training so that food is safe from the time it is farmed to the time it goes through the value chain of production and then to the end consumer. If the government would have more hubs created, because there's so many SMEs that are in the same, who are experiencing the same challenges I am, they need to scale up but can't because there's no facility they can move to. Because owning your own facility is quite expensive. Yeah? So having that hand-holding support either from the government or from associations like CAM that are lobbying for us would really help. So it motivates you and inspires you knowing that you're in the same journey that they were in at some point. They're able to point out the loopholes so that you do not waste a lot of the process that will take you too long. They have industry experience, they have a wider network, so they're able to link you with the right people.
in your line, or what do you feel is the future for SMEs in this country?
We'd be looking at the economy, building a strong economy. We'd be having less youth seated out there with no work, because employment will have been created. We'll be seeing more industries coming up. We'll be seeing a hub where investors want to come in and help, or even we could be the ones investing in other countries, and especially Africa. I'm excited to know that the Africa Free Trade Agreement is coming up, because it will offer a market space for many other entrepreneurs to trade from one region to the other within Africa. So we become a hub within Africa where we're able now to take our products to other continents.
That was Pauline, the founder of Azavi Foods. This is Come Live. See you next time. Welcome back to Come Live, the Women in Manufacturing site visit at Still Africa. I'm joined again by Akshay, the ED of Still Africa. And Akshay, the presentation was so deep, so detailed. But women in manufacturing, make a high percentage of them are in the micro and small, enterprises. How will they be able to implement, this plan that we're giving to them?
Right. It's a great question, because, as they say, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And I think the message that we really wanted to give today is that it doesn't matter whether you're a micro or a mini manufacturing company, the opportunity to be a world-class manufacturing company, no matter what your size or what your product, is accessible to everyone by just following, this framework. This framework minutes, but you can pick specific elements out of it. And as I said, start with the 4 foundation gears. And so there's a clear starting point, right? And a lot of the initial stuff that is to be done, even for a micro manufacturer, is just some basic, simple things around space management, right? A bit of changes in the design of the product, which makes it easier to produce with less waste. So I think having the intention that I want to go on this journey of 1,000 miles, having a roadmap, which is what our framework can provide, and then committing to taking the first step is all it takes.
Okay.
So even a micro manufacturer can begin the journey, and as long as they stay committed to that journey, as I said before, they will end up, standing above the rest in whichever space they're manufacturing in.
Great. So in the Still Africa way,
manufacturing facility and one person is running the whole thing. Like, the level of automation is so high. Maybe in such a case it's a different story. But we're in an environment where people are integral to the manufacturing process. Then don't expect to get the results you want from those people. Right? Like, I think you have to.
Yogurt in my house,
yes,
and it's just me. How can you be able to do that individually?
Yeah, well, obviously having a meeting with yourself doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But what could be done is have an agenda in the morning that you should go through. Okay, so it could be like, what are the lessons learned from yesterday down somewhere. So you could start like that, and the benefit of doing it is that as you expand, and maybe you bring in your first employee, you've already got a system in place, right? Meeting rotated, because you are also trying to empower those people in your team. Even if it's a small team of 5-6 people, let each person run that meeting every day. So I think it's important to keep that ritual of a 15-minute alignment and planning.
Technology that would be there in a bigger plant.
Well, first of all, there are 2 types of technology. Data recording, data collection is the first step towards utilizing information technology. So it could just be as simple as download the Google Sheets app. It's free, right? You don't need a computer or a tablet. You can use it on your phone. And think about what information in your manufacturing process needs to be captured, right? My daily production, my daily rejects, how much raw material do I have, how much packing material do I have, where are my customer orders, start collecting some information. And then now you've got a trend. Then you can go back to that trend and see, is my trend improving? Is it is like rejection rates, are they going up, down? It's very accessible, right? First blue band tub that we made here at South Africa, Kenya, I think it's high tech, expensive and world-class technology. Probably can't afford it, or even if you can afford it, it'll be a lot of money wasted into something for which sales is asked me for the next 20 years. And in manufacturing is to think about scaling it.
Okay.
Building a brand.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like the South Africa way, what impact would it have, that kind of mantra for a small company? Because we see a lot of small companies, 5 years, it's gone, they're finished, or they're not able to continue. So would this kind of mantra help them to, overcome those weaknesses that they get over the process?
Absolutely. I would say, if we think about mantras outside of the business, right? We think about mantras in religion. We think about mantras in, maybe personal health and hygiene, right? Like, I need to lose weight. Okay.
Yeah.
You've done a great job at it, by the way.
Thank you.
But if I wake up every day with a mantra, that this is my target. Akshay, every day, in the gym, an hour a day, blah, 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 doing something on the treadmill with a happy face. Maybe I'll start by just saying it to myself, right? Eventually I'll start believing it. Then I'll start looking at the gym. Then I'll start going into the gym. But that mantra has to be repeated every single day. It's like, programming your mind that this is what I do every day. And if you share that mantra with, a group of people, now you're all having this shared commitment. So it works. It really does work. Okay. Yeah.
So the women in manufacturing, how would you motivate them? We hope in a good time they'll be able to come here physically.
Yeah, I mean, when the times are right and safe. I think today the initial intention was to have about 20 women physically here. We really wanted to show what we're doing in the Gemba in person. But when things are safer to move around and to meet in person, we would be more than happy to host. And Surya is here. He's based in Nairobi. Of course, he supports our whole group. But maybe small groups coordinated with Surya. He's happy to show what we're doing. We can distribute it. But I think maybe one thing that we could do is think about how do we support a learning process, maybe through regular Zoom sessions or something, without actually giving the material, but presenting it on the screen, and then you can take screenshots.
But that's very interesting because you have actually built a curriculum to maybe instigate this South Africa way to all your employees.
Yes.
What has been the impact of coming up with a curriculum? How are the employees taking it?
So earlier I was talking to someone about this, that learning and then the culture that you want to create, right, really needs to be bottom up and self-led. So when we think about where learning happens in schools, right, the best students are the ones who want to go to school, right, are motivated because the school is, where they find themselves, like discovering themselves and discovering their talent and reaching their potential. So why does a school offer that type of an amazing learning journey to a willing learner But organizations sometimes fail, even though they may have more resources than a school. And I think it's because the learning approach in organizations tends to be top-down, right? And schools tends to be bottom-up, but supported with a curriculum. So what do I mean by that is the curriculum is like a roadmap, right? The student gets to see what is it that I need to learn over a period of time. What's the content? How do I keep testing myself to know where I am on am I an A student, a B student, a C student? And I keep getting support, right, from the teacher or from a group of students to keep improving myself. So we've essentially modeled that bottom-up approach, baked that into SEAL Africa, and unleashed it onto the employees of SEAL Africa. And so there is no really reason to not learn, right? I mean, you could be sitting in a matatu for an hour, doing nothing, but we've given them the tools that they can use on their phone and learn anywhere they are.
Wow.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Akshay, for having us and for taking your time to take us through the SEAL Africa way. I know shortly we'll be taking a tour of the factory to see how practical the SEAL Africa way is actually being done here at SEAL Africa.
Great.
So thank you so much. So just before we get into the factory visit, another woman in manufacturing.
Founder and CEO of Azavi Foods. So after research, I started getting information on how do I bridge that gap of market access from the farm to the fork, to the end consumer. And at that time also Kenyans were getting to know, to embrace nutrition, eating, we are starting to become healthy conscious. So just wondering also, how do I meet the nutritional needs of the Kenyan people? So I decided that I needed to offer organic quality, they're tasty, and for me to do that I needed to partner with certified farmers that are doing organic farming and have gone through the training so that food is safe from the time it is farmed, the time it goes through the value chain of production, and then to the end consumer. If the government would have more hubs created, because there's so many SMEs that are in the same, who are experiencing the same challenges I am. They need to scale up but can't because there's no facility they can move to. Because owning your own facility is quite expensive. Yeah. So having that hand-holding support either from the government or from associations like CAM that are lobbying for us would really help. So it motivates you and inspires you knowing that you're in the same journey that they were in at some point.
Okay.
They're able to point out the loopholes so that you do not waste a lot of time following a certain process that will take you too long. They have industry experience, they have a wider network, so they're able to link you with the right people.
In your line, or what do you feel is the future for SMEs in this country?
We're looking at the economy, building a strong economy. We'll be having less youth seated out there with no work because employment will have been created. We'll be seeing more industries coming up. We'll be seeing a hub where investors want to come in and help, or even we could be the ones investing in other countries and especially Africa. I'm excited to know that the Africa Free Trade Agreement is coming up because it will offer a market space for many other entrepreneurs to trade from one region to the other within Africa. So we become a hub within Africa where we're able now to take our products to other continents.
That was Pauline, the founder of Azavi Foods. This is Come Live. See you next time. So thank you so much, Akshay, for that wonderful session. It's now time for the factory visit. Could we have our gadgets?
Yeah, a little safety gear. Thank you.
I'm feeling excited to,
Oh.
to see the practical, angle of what we were talking about.
Yeah, and I'm really happy to share all the stuff that we do at Sil Africa, how we become world-class in manufacturing.
Yes.
But as we're going around, I'm going to share examples of what we do.
Okay.
But I know that our audience, the women in manufacturing, are running small-scale manufacturing.
Yes.
So my attempt is going to be to show what we do, and then try to give ideas of what could be done at the smaller scale.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's get to it. So actually, how many people do you employ here at Sil Africa?
At the Sil Africa Kenya factory,
Yeah.
we have
Okay.
220 approximately.
Okay.
And then we also have factories in Tanzania, in Dar es Salaam,
Yes.
and we also have a factory in Ethiopia, in Addis Ababa.
Okay.
So overall, in total, we have close to about 600 people in total.
What has been, the participation of women in building Sil Africa?
So initially, in the old days, a lot of the manual labor work like packing, labeling, fine dexterity work was being done by women. Recently, I would say we have more women in technical and engineering roles. We have more women in the HR administration in the factory. We have more women in sales. We have more women in finance. So overall, as a Sil Africa, when we look at gender diversity ratio, we are at about 32% women compared to the total number of people we have.
Okay. So you can tell us where.
Yeah, so we'll be going into where we are manufacturing packaging for yogurt cups.
Okay.
So this is a line that we have invested in a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And I would say when we try to create excellence in manufacturing, it's always good to create a center of excellence. Like, don't try to improve everything at the same time.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to do that, and it's not sustainable.
Okay.
So you need to have sort of an example that everybody can see.
Okay.
And
So I know this section is quite loud.
Yeah, so we'll be going here.
Okay.
Because of course this is our center of excellence
Yes.
for the Sil Africa way, or TSW. So that is our model that we use, as I will be explaining in more detail later,
Yeah.
of how we create world-class manufacturing.
So how important is it for any organization to kind of come up with what you have come up with, the Sil Africa way?
Yes.
Even women who are in the micro and small, how important is it to come up with like a mantra
Yes.
to drive how you're operating?
So whether you are a small-scale manufacturer, a woman or a man, or you're a large-scale manufacturer, there are some basic principles of manufacturing that we cannot escape from. Right? Quality, cost, delivery, consistency, safety, like all those things, they are embedded in manufacturing. Even technology, it's all embedded in. So each of those areas, they really have to be focused on. Now, some of the examples I will show you here, I'm sure many of the women in manufacturing who are watching us today are going to say, but this is a big company,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This is, I need millions and billions of shillings to do this.
Yeah.
So the idea is not to show something which is out of reach. The idea is to inspire a journey, right? So I'll show you some of the things we're doing, and then I'll try and give some ideas
Yeah.
about what could be done in a low cost or a no cost way.
Yeah.
So let's take a look here at this point. The raw material that is coming into the machine is not manually being put in. Okay? So we decided that it's better to automate the material that goes in the machine, and by doing that, we are able to achieve a consistency of how much material goes into the machine. That means that we will not have any spillage of material. We will have exactly the right formula that goes in, and that ultimately leads to a better quality and a lower cost. Yeah?
So how can, you know, these people who are in the smaller enterprises
Yes.
be able to take that up?
The principle here is do not manually handle your material too often. Okay, so in a small scale, let's say that somebody is doing a stitching business. All right? Instead of buying small rolls of the yarn, maybe buy bigger rolls and put them on a jig, and so they are directly being fed into the stitching machine. So you are not continuously doing that changing.
Okay.
That is one way of achieving the same outcome. That minimize the amount of handling. There's another thing that we call coupled manufacturing. So instead of having, you know, maybe 3-4 different steps to produce the same thing, I'll show you an example here of how we are able to combine 3 different steps into one step.
Okay.
So what we are making here is we are making a yogurt cup. Now normally this cup would have to have a label or a printing,
like a paper or something.
and then it would have to be applied or stuck on or printed.
Yeah.
So what we are doing is,
Easier. It's more productive.
so you can achieve more output,
Yeah.
and because it is not having multiple steps,
Yeah.
you're also not building inventory in between.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So here you'll see that the label is going in
Oh, yeah.
and the cup is coming out already labeled, and it is being placed on that table. So that lady is just, you know, it's just coming directly on the table, and she does that. Now, from a low cost or a no cost approach, how can that be done?
Yeah.
So instead of having a robot doing all this, you can have jigs, where you can do batch work. So even maybe set up like a small assembly. So just do more repetitive work, life examples of how they could semi-automate without investing in robots and all that. But it's still possible to semi-automate. It's still possible to combine multiple steps in manufacturing into one step.
Okay. Yeah.
The other advantage of doing that is the less steps you have and the better your design. So another aspect of manufacturing is start with the design. Start with the material and the design, and make sure that it is designed for low cost, high quality manufacturing. So minimize the amount of material going in. Simplify the design.
Yeah.
Also make it recyclable, right, for circular economy.
Yeah.
And then minimize the number of steps. So by doing all that, there will be less consumption of material and there will be less consumption of energy.
So where should these women, you know, seek this information in terms of product design? Because I'm sure a lot of them, that would be the ultimate challenge. Where would they be able to know, is my design, you know, low cost? Is my design easy for it to be repeated?
Yes.
To be over and over?
I mean, there is first of all a lot of content available on YouTube. So if we start looking at certain keywords, one of them is called value engineering.
Okay.
Yeah? So I guess if you do research on product design and value engineering, there's a lot of content available on how to reduce the amount of waste in product design.
Yeah.
And maybe they can even, I know that many of them are into the process of stitching.
Yeah.
making various kinds of, garments or clothing or something. So if the manufacturing process is stitching, then particularly look towards YouTube, and I think you can find a lot of examples of how small-scale manufacturers in that sector are doing. But any sector that our women in manufacturing are in, YouTube is a great resource to look for ideas.
Okay.
We can also share a number of other specific websites and other resources that can be publicly available, that they can look towards for learning. And then, however, in as much as I'm saying, okay, there's a lot of content out there,
Yes.
it's also important not to get carried away.
Okay.
Because what might happen is you're innovating in one particular aspect of your business, but not realizing that that other areas are somehow being ignored.
Okay.
So that's another important thing in manufacturing, that it's a value chain.
Yeah.
So the entire value chain has to be improved gradually.
Okay.
If you take one area of the value chain and make it amazing, but other areas are not there, then eventually this amazing improvement will come down because other areas have not caught up.
You mentioned, just before we come to the end of ensuring that your product is recyclable. That's
Yes.
something that we are yet to achieve.
Yes.
How do these women, especially, because a lot of women are also in food, a lot of women are in the agro-processing sector, so they have to use, material that is good for packaging.
Yes.
How, when they are small like that, how are they able to access this recyclable material to participate in circular economy?
So if I can take a step back and just say that the circular economy may be one of the biggest opportunities, particularly for small medium manufacturing, because we want products to be more reusable, right? And if, let's say, this coat that I'm wearing, if the sleeve or something gets damaged, it should be designed in such a way that I can just replace the sleeve instead of throwing away the whole coat. So the more we design for products to be reusable, even if they get damaged a bit, make it easily replaceable to fix that particular. So modular fashion, for example, just an idea. So these things are very difficult to achieve in large-scale manufacturing. Okay, at least at the moment, large-scale manufacturing is trying to produce, let's say, clothing at the lowest possible cost, and it gets disposed, and then you just buy a new whatever garment. So small-scale manufacturing has the opportunity to become more circular by creating a different type of design where the material can be reused and easily repaired. So that's the first thing I would start with, right? Then the second question is about where do you get the material, whether it is recycled or renewable sources. As part of a new initiative that has been taken through CAM, which is called KEPRO, Kenya Producer Responsibility Organization, we are working to get together, at least in the packaging space, brands and producers and recyclers to come together, along with the help of regulators, to create a circular economy framework, which would encourage brands to actually pay a fee based on the weight of the packaging. That fee then goes to the recyclers and helps to increase their business.
Okay.
So if we have, for example, I don't know how many we have, maybe we have 100 recyclers in Kenya, we definitely need 1,000. We need a recycler in every town and city and all that.
Okay.
Because that will now start industrializing recycling. Today recycling is still a very small activity that doesn't match to the manufacturing of the product that has to be become waste and be recycled, right?
Okay. Okay.
So if the entire packaging sector is producing, say, 100,000 tons of packaging, the recycling sector has to be able to process 100,000 tons of packaging and make it into new material. So KEPRO is, part of that journey, That we create the capacity for the whole waste collect, sorting to recycling, and then the availability of recycled materials will become as common as virgin materials.
Okay. So for women, and you talked about how before now they're getting into engineering, into how would you motivate them or encourage them to continue to get into those spaces?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's part of the whole learning journey, and something that we'll be talking about on our TSW framework is there are 20 specific skill areas that anybody in manufacturing must learn. Yeah? At Sil Africa, we call it the Sil Africa way, which consists of these 20 specific areas. We call them gears. Each gear has a curriculum. We've been able to put that entire curriculum onto a mobile app. So every single person in our company is able to learn on the go, whether they are in traffic or at home or here. They can keep learning about the specific skill sets they need in order to become a part of a world-class manufacturing company.
Okay.
So the same skill sets, are the ones that any of these women who want to become better in manufacturing or want to enter into manufacturing, those 20 particular gears are universally applicable.
Okay.
And we'll be explaining a lot more about that.
Okay. So I hope you enjoyed the factory tour. This is Come Live. We are at Sil Africa. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.